Greetings from Kardec Radio, where we are bringing listeners another audiobook. This one entitled Who is Afraid of Death, written by Richard Simonetti. This seventh installment covers Chapter 12, entitled Death of Children, and Chapter 13, entitled Why Do Flowers Die? Enjoy. Chapter 12, Death of Children. When death occurs during childhood, even under tragic circumstances, it is much more peaceful, because during this phase of life the spirit remains in a kind of slumbering state, gradually waking up to his earth existence. Only during adolescence will he be in full control of his capabilities. Indifferent to the human events, he is not yet entangled in addictions and passions that so badly compromise the physical experience and make it more difficult to have a balanced return to the spiritual life. The major problem is the retention web that is strongly woven, because the death of a child always causes great commotion, even from those not directly involved. The little being is a symbol of purity and innocence, a joy in the present, and a promise for the future, and so he encompasses the hopes of the adults, who refuse to face the perspective of separation. In order to help the disincarnating child, it is necessary to behave somewhat like the character, Amaro in the book Between Heaven and Earth, dictated by the spirit André Louis, through the medium Francisco Candido Xavier. At the prospect of Julio's death, who was Amaro's beloved one-year-old son, late at night while the other family members are sleeping, he watches over the child and meditates. The spirit author describes it as follows. Dawn was starting to reflect light into the firmament in the form of wide reddish stripes when the railroad worker stopped meditating and came closer to the agonizing little boy. In a touching act of faith, he took the old wooden crucifix from the wall and placed it by the child's bedside. Then he sat on the bed and tenderly took the son in his arms. Spiritually supported by Odila, his first wife, who had already died, Amaro was embracing his son, while he rested his eyes over the image of the crucified Christ and prayed out loud, "Divine Jesus, have mercy on our weaknesses. My spirit is fragile when dealing with death. Give us strength and understanding. Our children belong to you, but how painful it is when the time comes to give them back to you, when your will calls for their return." The mourning hindered his voice, but the grieving father, showing his urgent necessity for prayer, goes on. "If it is your will that our little son departs, my Lord, take him in your arms of love and light. Grant us, however, the necessary courage to bravely bear our cross, made of the pain and suffering due to his absence. Give us resignation, faith, and hope. Help us to understand your purposes, and may thy will be done today and forever." A beam of sapphire-like light started flowing out of Amaro's chest and enveloped the child, who, little by little, fell asleep. Julio left his flesh body and found comfort in Odila's arms, like an orphan seeking a nest of tenderness and affection. The faithful attitude of Amaro and his profound trust in Jesus helped him keep his self-control and favored the return of Julio to the spiritual world according to what was established. Chapter 13. Why do flowers die? There is no room for chance in the human existence. God is not a gambler with dice, randomly distributing joy and sorrow, happiness and sadness, health and illness, life and death. There are laws enforced by God that rule the evolution of his creatures, providing them experiences compatible with their needs. One of them is reincarnation, resolved that we shall live multiple lives in the flesh, as students periodically admitted to a boarding school for some specific learning. Knowledge about reincarnation helps us uncover the intricate problems of destiny. God knows what he is doing. When a little flower from the garden of life has to return to the spiritual world, some people who commit suicide sometimes reincarnate for a brief journey. Their feeling of frustration after many years of hard preparation for for returning to the flesh will help them value the human existence and overcome the tendency of escaping from their problems through self-destruction. At the same time, the contact with the material world will be beneficial for treating perispiritual maladjustment caused by the insane act. Children with severe congenital problems that lead to death fit this condition perfectly. If necessary, after another period of time, they will reincarnate again in the same family, but with better health conditions and with greater disposition to face their trials on earth. Many times, the child born after the death of a sibling will show a similar pattern of behavior, with identical reactions and tendencies. He is just like his deceased brother. Family members comment, "No, he is not just like. He's the very brother returning for a new learning journey." Also, there are evolved spirits who reincarnate with the purpose of awakening spiritual impulses in old friends, parents, brothers, and sisters, helping them overcome their attachment to the material life. Due to their evolved conditions, they are generally adorable children, extremely nice, clever, and loving. Parents dedicate their total affection to them and claim that the children are the main reason for their existence. When these children disincarnate, parents feel puzzled and aggrieved. Nevertheless, as they emerge from their lassitude and despair, they start experiencing the blessed detachment from human futility and feel the awakening of an unsuspected religious vocation, stimulated by their own children who, invisible to their eyes, can whisper deep into their hearts by tuning into their feelings of longing. Those parents who cry over the coffin of a beloved child will eventually understand that the temporary separation is part of a spiritual evolution plan, which will give rise to a closer union, to a greater and long-lasting happiness after the glorious re-encounter, which will inexorably come.